Drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes. I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Good Tuesday evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? This is the TFG Sports Show. I am your host, Kendrick, here for the next 30 minutes to talk a little bit of sports, some of the hot topics that's going on in the sports world. I hope everyone is having a great start to the week. Tell me how you doing. Before we jump into a lot of this stuff, I need you to come on in here, hit that like, hit that share button. Make sure you comment so I can shout you out as well, so we can chat a taste for the next 30 minutes. And if you also haven't, please subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube and on Facebook. Make sure you hit that like button. So again, I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday evening. My brother CM Charles Moore is in the house. What's up, brother? Hope you having a good start to your week. We're gonna chat a taste about a couple of things going on in the sports world for the next 30 minutes. But before we get to some quick hits and before we get to our topics, I don't know if you know what today is, but today is June 7th, and it is the born day of the late, great Prince Roger Nelson. I want you guys to put in the comments, what's your favorite Prince song? You got to let me know what's your favorite Prince song of all time. I have a few. It's hard to just pick one. If I Was Your Girlfriend, Until the End of Time, Let's Go Crazy, Erotic City, and the list goes on and on. I have a few, but I'd like to know what's your favorite Prince song. Make sure you put that in the comments so we can chat a little bit, have some fun. Now, I got a couple of quick hits before we get into our topic. Yep, Prince's birthday. Facebook user, thanks for coming in and letting me know that. Insatiable, that's a good one. I forgot about Insatiable. I like that one too. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the show. But my quick hits, real quick. Longtime NFL assistant coach and head coach Romeo Crennel retired on Monday after 39 seasons in the NFL, 50 years of coaching total. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, but he was best known as a defensive coordinator. He was assistant coach most of those years, and he leaves the game with 5 Super Bowl rings. And he decided it's time to ride off in the sunset. He retired at the age of 74 on Monday. So kudos to him. Great job, well done, coach. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your silver years. Now, let's get to another guy that's retiring. NFL running back Frank Gore, 49ers. He signed a one-day contract. He retired after 16 seasons. Gore played the most games by any running back in NFL history with 241. He has the third most carries in NFL history with 3,735. And he rushed for the third most yards in NFL history with 16,000 yards. Only 2 ahead of him, Emmitt Smith and Walter Payton. Frank Gore, 39 years young, man. He said he rode off in the sunset. You can say what you want. He came from the University of Miami. Frank Gore is one of the most durable running backs to ever play in the game, and you can still check him out because he's boxing right now. Matter of fact, I think he won his match last week, so he ain't just gonna sit around. He's in that boxing ring. And our last quick hit, Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald got a $40 million raise. He got his contract extended over the last 3 years over his existing contract. So he's going to make $95 million over 3 years. 60 of that is guaranteed. Highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL this season. Now, he's also hooked up with Donda Sports. I don't know if you know, Donda Sports is Kanye West. Kanye West kind of wanted to take a little of the credit for this contract, but nah, he didn't have anything to do with that. His agent, Todd LaFrance, was the one that actually negotiated this new extension. So those were some of our quick hits. Make sure you put in the comment section your favorite Prince song. We're going to keep talking about that. All right, let's get to our first topic. In the NBA Finals recap, we're recapping games 1 and 2. The series is tied 1-1. Game 3 is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on, I believe, ABC. Like again, both the series is tied 1-1. Uh, Game 1, Celtics came out, took it 120 to 108. They won by 20. And they shot the ball lights out. Uh, who would have thought? Al Horford. Al Horford, I believe, hit 6 threes. He went for 26 and 6. Jaylen Brown went for 24, 7, and 5. And Jason Tatum went for only 12 and 5, but he had 13 assists. Now, coming off the bench, Celtics Derek White chipped in 21. Now, the Warriors, Stephen Curry went for 34, 5, and 5. Wiggins had 20 and 5. And Klay Thompson only went for 15, 2, and 3. And Klay Thompson hasn't shot the ball well. He hasn't shot the ball well this series. I was reading somewhere where he's working on that, and he's saying he's gonna be ready come game 3. Charles Moore says someone tell Boston to guard number 30 Curry. Hey, it's a dirty job, but somebody got to do it, right, Charles? Marcus Smart, I thought that he was gonna be that guy, but I don't know. I don't think he got enough to stay in front of Stephen Curry. It's not a lot of guys. I think they're gonna have to start trapping him. Once he get over half court, get the ball out of his hands. See what that do in game 3. Make some adjustments. Now, in game 1, Celtics had outscored the Warriors 34 to 26 in the paint. And in the fourth quarter, the Celtics outscored the Warriors 40 to 16. That's when they put this game away. They hit 9 threes in that quarter. Again, Horford had 6 threes for the game, and the Celtics hit 15 threes total. From these 3 guys, Horford, White, and Smart. Those 3 guys were hit 15 threes of the Celtics 21 threes made that they had in game 1. Again, game 2, totally different. But anyway, game 1, Celtics came out, looked like they had a little momentum. They took game 1, 120 to 108. Now let's shift gears to game 2. I had a feeling. I was like, I know the Celtics ain't gonna shoot that well. They're not gonna be shooting threes like they were in game 1. That's not gonna happen. And sure enough, it didn't. Warriors came out, got the victory, 107 to 88. Warriors Stephen Curry went for 29, 6, and 4. Klay Thompson still he ain't found that range. 11, 3, and 1, and he was 4 for 19. Jordan Poole had a pretty nice game. He went for 17, 2, and 3. Celtics Jason Tatum, he came back and he had a pretty good game, 28, 6, and 3, and he was 6 for 9 from three-point land. Jaylen Brown went for 17, 6, and 3, and Derek White went for 12, 4, and 2. Now the point in the paint. This is where the points in the paint, the Warriors really stepped it up. They was 40. They scored 40 points in the paint to the Celtics 24. And Golden State largest lead during game 2 was 29 points. Now the Warriors did outscore the Celtics 35 to 14 in the third quarter, and the Celtics Tatum scored 21 of his total 28 points in the first half. So I kind of figured this was gonna happen. Again, I picked Boston in 6. I'm still gonna stick with that. But I think whoever wins tomorrow night, again, that game is in Boston. Game 3 tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Whoever wins tomorrow night, I think is gonna win this series. I really do. I think this game 3 is probably one of the most important game in this series, and I'm not gonna change my pick. I still think the Celtics is gonna win this thing in 6. I'd like to know what you think, Charles. I know you're going with Boston. You said 7 at first. You still think it's going 7? I don't know, man. I think I'm still gonna stick with Boston in 6. Um, but I do know that Boston, they definitely gonna have to they definitely, I think, gonna have to double team Curry and make Klay beat him because he's not shooting the ball. He's not shooting the ball well. And Draymond Green, I mean, he does what he does with best: antagonize and do little stupid little stuff. That one foul that he got, I think it was on Jaylen Brown where he almost grabbed his shorts off. I thought that should have been a tech, but Draymond Green is Draymond Green. Someone compared him to Dennis Rodman. And I think as far as getting under your skin, and I think that's a good comparison because Dennis Rodman, he was a heck of a rebounder too, a defensive player, but he definitely sure knew how to get under your skin. And Draymond Green is good at that. Outside of that, I think he's a solid player, but he's not a star. But he's an important cog to that Golden State Warriors machine. So we'll see what's going to happen in game 3. Again, I think this is a big game for both teams. I think whoever wins this is most likely going to win this series. So again, Boston and Golden State. Golden State is going to Boston. That game is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on ABC. So let's move on to our next topic. Charles says, "Someone tell, yeah. My bad. I already read that. So we're gonna see if someone guard him and they listen to you, Charles. So let's move on. Sticking to NBA, the king, as they call him, LeBron James, if you didn't know, became the first active NBA player to become a billionaire. And you know that's a monumental feat. Now, Michael Jordan is also a billionaire, but he didn't become a billionaire until after his playing days was over. But listen, just listen to this. LeBron, he surpassed the billionaire mark after earning $121.2 million in 2021. He earned 385 million on court, has earned that much, $385 million in his 19-year career. He's set to make $44.5 million next season as part of his 2-year contract extension. So he's going to make $44.5 million next year. Now, he's made $900 million from off-court ventures. If you didn't know, his production company, he produced the Space Jam 2. That was part of his production company got a large piece of that. I think like $169 million it gross worldwide. He owns Blaze Pizza. He's part owner of the Boston Red Sox, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Charles says, plus if any of Boston's players, I would let anyone, also known as Draymond, that scored 9 points affect me. Right, I'm with you, Charles, on that. But LeBron is his off-court ventures. Again, he owns Blaze Pizza. He's part of the Fenway ownership group where they own part of the Red Sox, I believe the Pittsburgh Penguins and Liverpool. And also he got the endorsement deals with I believe Pepsi. Obviously, you know his Nike thing. He has his production company. He has his show, The Shop, that's on YouTube. His school in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, and other ventures he has. So LeBron has definitely put in the work when it comes to business. You can't help but respect him for that. And to be the first active player to become a billionaire, that says a lot. Now he also says this last year that he wants to become an owner of an NBA franchise. And I hopefully that happens. I think that'll happen. If you look at all the major sports, uh, there's there's only one, and it's MJ in the NBA. I did a report on TFG Sports Media last night. Looks like the Denver Broncos. Looks like the Walmart heir, Rob Walton, looks like he's going to win that. His bid, $4.5 billion. Charles says LeBron let a brother hold something or buy a TFGA studio. Hey, Charles, I already reached out to his people. I sent him an email. I'm waiting to hear back. I'll let you know when I hear back. Hopefully, it didn't go to his spam folder. But I sent his people an email telling them, you know, we got invest in some brothers that's trying to do something big. So I'll let you know if I hear back from him. So, but hopefully he will be able to be the second owner of a franchise, whether it's NBA, NFL, baseball, whatever it may be, because we just need more representation in the ownership roles. So I hats off to LeBron, and you can say what you want about LeBron. You know, you may not like the way he made moves on the court. You know, leaving Cleveland, going to Miami, supposedly, you know, it created a super team, but super teams have been going on forever. My thing is, the one thing I respect about LeBron is he's in an era where players can take control of their career. Unlike our athletes from the past, they really didn't have that kind of control where they can kind of say, "Hey, this is how I'm going." So I think anybody that works, anybody that's grown, you want to be able to control your future. You want to be able to call the shots and make shots for you. So, you know, in that aspect, I don't have nothing but respect for him for doing that. Now, for on the competitive side, yeah, you know, I I ain't big with going and join up with your crew, but this is a different generation. I'm not gonna be the old guy on the porch saying, "Get off my lawn, do what you do." Yeah, I don't like it, but it is what it is. And so that's the athletes. That's what type of athletes we have now. But back to his billionaire status, and he got more stuff coming down the pipeline. No, I'm sure he's working with other companies to do some things. And another thing I like about him that he brought his longtime friends. He brought them with him, put them up on game, gave them opportunities to create their own businesses, their own ventures. I mean, Rich Paul, look at him. I mean, I think when you talk about agents, and I think he's probably the most popular agent out there now. You know who Rich Paul is. That's a long time friend of LeBron. He brought a couple of these guys with him, so you can't do nothing but respect that. So again, LeBron King James, first active NBA player to become billionaire. Salute you, LeBron. Again, like my man Charles said, let us hold a little something. Get back with me. I'm waiting. I'm gonna be checking my emails periodically to see if I get a response. So let's move on to our next topic for this evening. Kevin Durant and Showtime Sports, they produced a documentary called Point Guards. Now, you know, I love documentaries, especially one about the history of basketball or sports or whatever, or an individual. This documentary looks like it's gonna be one of those you can't take your eyes off of. Now, Kevin Durant, he teamed up with Showtime Sports, and Point Guards is basically the documentary of New York City point guards. Now, if you know anything about New York City and basketball, it is the mecca. And when you talk about point guards, definitely New York City is the mecca of point guards. Now, this documentary where we look at the lives and how some of the most flashy and most talented point guards came up in the city. You're gonna have Rafer Alston, who a lot probably don't know this, but that is Skip to My Lou. If you watch the N1 circuit, that's Rafer Alston from New York City. They're gonna look into his lives of him, Kenny Anderson, Mark Jackson, Stephon Marbury, God Shem God, who a lot of people don't know. His crossover is one that a lot of people don't talk about. But God Shem God, Kenny Smith, Rod Strickland, one of my favorite point guards to come out of New York City, Dwayne and the late Dwayne and Pearl Washington. Again, this documentary is going to air on Showtime July 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can check it out on Showtime as well as the Showtime app. Kevin Durant is one of the executive producers. He's teamed up with it. It's just going to show. It's going to talk about the history of the point guards coming out of New York City. Now, again, when you talk about New York City, outside, I think New York is the more flash, and they definitely groom point guards. You think about Chicago, a little bit more grit, a little bit more in your face. Detroit is another city that has some ballers. Uh, LA, I think they're a little bit more uh, uh, vertical wise. They're probably a little bit more vertically and could shoot the ball well. LA. So those four cities are really big cities that you talk about, and Philly, can't leave out Philadelphia and Baltimore. Those are two other cities. Because if you know, basketball is really king when you think about the territory, especially the Midwest and the East. Basketball has always been the flavor. And when you talk about New York City, you're definitely going to talk about they got a little swag about them. Any ball player to come out of New York City, they got a little swag. Uh, Again, Kenny Anderson, one of my favorite left-handed point guards, went to Georgia Tech. One of the quickest guards that I've ever seen. Stephon Marbury was another one. If he could have, I think if him kept Garnett would have stayed in Minnesota, I think they would have got them a chip together. Stephon Marbury, one of the highly rated guards coming out of New York City. Rod Strickland is another one that flies under the radar. A lot of people never really talk about him, but he had a crossover and a change of pace. Man, nobody could stop Rod Strickland in the '90s. Go back if you don't know about Rod Strickland, check him out. You know, YouTube, you can find anything on YouTube. So man, check him out. So I'm looking forward to it. Again. This is called Point Guides. It's looking into some of the most exciting and flashy point guards that come out of New York City. As far as interviews, they interviewed Fat Joe, rap artist Fat Joe, Cameron, ESPN Stephen A. Smith is giving some sound on this, as well as some coaches, Rick Pitino, Louis Carnesecca, who was longtime coach at St. John's will also be appearing in this documentary titled Point Guards. Again, Kevin Durant team with Showtime Sports to produce this. This is going to air July 29th, which is a special day for me because my younger brother. Shout out to Second Son, if you watching. Shout out to Kaleem Bay. His born date is July 29th. So definitely going to check that out. Can't wait to see it. I tried to see the trailer hasn't been released. I tried to see if I could pull up the trailer. At least I haven't seen it. Hopefully I can catch that trailer and see what they're talking about. Again, I've been looking forward to it. I think it's going to be one of the better documentaries. And hats off to Kevin Durant making this happen. He's doing big things as well as LeBron too. And also they did speak with Kenny Smith's brother, who was big, is a coach for AAU. He has some part in this as well, and they talked to him to get a lot of the background on that as well. So again, don't forget July 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern, Point Guards documentary on the New York City. Some of the most flashy and talented point guards that come out of there. It will be on Showtime, and you can check it out on the Showtime app. So let's move on to our next topic. Mr. Producer, had to bring some sad stuff in. I hate to, we gotta talk about Marion, the Barbarian Barber, former Dallas Cowboys running back, was found dead in his Frisco apartment at the age of 38 last week. He actually would have turned 39 on Friday. According to updated reports that I've read, that there was someone called for a welfare check. And the reason being, his apartment, uh, someone said there was water leaking into their apartment, someone at the complex. So they called for a welfare check. Frisco police arrived, enters Marion's apartment, found him in the shower with the shower running. His body had somewhat decomposed at that point, so we don't know how long he had been in the shower like that. As of right now, the latest information is no foul play is suspected. Autopsy is being done. So those results will be a couple of weeks before that comes back. His family, his dad, who was a former NFL player, Marion Barber Jr., who played for the Jets, he did said that in his will, Marion Barber said that he did not want his brain taken for used for CTE study. So that won't be. He didn't want that to happen. A lot of NFL players, they you can't diagnose CTE until they pass away. But Marion Barber Jr., his father said that he put in his will that he didn't want his brain to be studied. A lot of people were speculating that they felt like that CTE was some issues because Marion Barber did have some issues after retiring from football in, I believe, 2012. He played 6 years with the Cowboys and 1 year with the Bears. He had some issues. He had a couple of run-ins with the law, and some of his closest friends have said that they did notice a change in him, far as some mental health issues. So it's just a sad story, man. 38, that's young, and just the way he was found. Again, they're doing an autopsy. They're not saying that it's foul play at this point, but we won't know him for a couple of weeks. Now, just to talk about his career, man, if you remember Marion Barber on the Cowboys teams, I mean, that guy, he wasn't an elusive guy. He wasn't no east and west type guy. He was straight ahead. And the first tackler normally wasn't gonna bring him down. I was watching Undisputed a couple of mornings ago, and they were showing this one play against the Patriots where he basically ran 25 yards for 2 yards, but the Cowboys were inside the 5, and they stopped the run. The first guy hit him. He bounced off of him. He went into the end zone. Another guy, I think that was Rodney Harrison, tried to get him. He bounced off of him. Then another Patriot tried to hit him. He bounced off of him. He took it outside on the right. Another Patriot tried to hit him. He bounced off of him, and he did all that for 2 yards. But that was just the type of runner Marion Barber was. He was a hard-nosed runner, north and south. Again, the first tackle wasn't going to bring him down. So it's just sad. He played 7 years again, 6 with the Cowboys. He was a Pro Bowler in 2007. He ran for 4,780 career yards. rushing, and he had 53 touchdowns rushing as well. So yeah, it's just sad. Bill Parcells said that he was a complete football player. He said he's one of the best, players that he's ever coached. Uh, uh, who else? Dez Bryant came out on Twitter and just said that he wished that he could have helped him because he said I knew my brother was doing bad and I tried to reach him and I couldn't. So Dez Bryant, his former teammate, was taking it hard. Tony Romo made a comment too as well. So yeah, Marion Barber. I mean, the last month and a half, we've lost a lot of young NFL ballers. Dwayne Haskins back in April. Then the cornerback, I think it's Jeff Gladney. He was in that horrific car accident on Memorial Day in Dallas. Lost him. He was 25. I believe Haskins was only 23, 24. Now, Marion Barber. So it's sad. But Barber, he put it all out there on the career. Now he had three other brothers that played, two other brothers that played as well. One of his brothers, Dominique Barber, played for the Texans, and he had another brother that played for the Minnesota Gophers. And Marion Barber also attended the University of Minnesota as well. So seems the family is holding up pretty good, pretty as well as you can imagine. Again, his dad, Marion Barber Jr., former New York Jets running back, said that just keep the prayers for the family and just kind of respect their privacy right now. So again, Marion Barber, peace be upon you, my brother. Always had the highlights, man. You can go check out some of his greatest runs on YouTube right now, I'm sure. So, peace be upon you, Marion Barber. So, we down to my final thoughts, man. It went by fast. I was waiting to see. We also, I want to go back and talk about what today is. Today's June 7th. I forgot how old Prince would have been, but today is Prince Roger Nelson's born day, and I just wanted to know what some of you all's favorite song. I see Charles in here. Charles didn't mention. I don't know if you a Prince fan or not. I'd like to know what your favorite song is. I can tell you what. I can tell you this about Prince. Probably one of my favorite Super Bowl performances. It is still number one. Was Prince's performance in Miami. That is still my favorite Super Bowl halftime show performance in Miami. And I remember it started raining, I want to say. Right, I think right when he was getting ready to sing Purple Rain, or right when he was ending it. I can't remember. But when he sang Purple Rain, I believe it started raining a little bit. So of the all-time Super Bowl halftime shows, Prince is still number one on my list. Obviously, this last one we had Dre and Snoop and 50 and M and Mary J. That's number two. But Prince still hands down my favorite Super Bowl halftime show performance of all time. So anyway, if you watch this later, make sure you jump in the comments. Tell me what's your favorite Prince song of all time, just to celebrate his born day. And if you got on some purple, let me know if you wore some purple today. So again, I want to thank everybody for watching. But before we go, make sure you hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button to TFG Sports Media on YouTube and right here on Facebook. And don't forget, if you view this later, make sure you comment. Make sure you tell me what's your favorite Prince song on Prince's born day. And last but certainly not least, I got to give a shout out because on Thursday, June 9th, 1952, a queen was born. My late mother, Carolyn Louise Henderson, would have celebrated her 70th born day on Thursday. So I gotta, before I get out of here, wish my mom, my queen, my heart, who I miss dearly, a happy early born day. You would be shocked at your oldest son, because I was never a big talker. But if you saw me doing this, you'd be like, "Who is this kid?" I could not get him to say 20 words. But I know you looking down. I know you looking down. I know you smiling. So I just wanted to wish my mother a happy early born day, which her born day would be Thursday, and she would have been 70 years young. So I would definitely try to figure out something to do to honor and celebrate her. Her favorite dessert, I know, was peach cobbler. So I will eat some peach cobbler in memory of my beautiful and late mother. So again, this has been TFG Sports Media. I'm your host, Kendrick. I'm glad everybody dropped in. Again, make sure you comment if you hadn't already, like, share, subscribe to TFG Sports Media, and like it on Facebook. And you can find us here every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. So I guess without further ado, that's a wrap. I'm out. Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, I hit record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm